Cash Flow Savannah. My name is Chandler Newman, and I am here with Julie Gates for episode 4. How you doing, Julie?
I'm great. I can't believe we only have 4 episodes and I've had so many people, tell me they learned something. And I'm like, really? Like people are listening? Like I'm kind of honored. So thank you everyone for listening. We really appreciate it. We're here to talk and educate for sure.
The response has been really good for the first 4 episodes, so pretty cool. I didn't think some people would listen, but I guess they are.
Same. I had the same reaction. I'm like, oh, you heard it? Oh, cool.
Like we're just doing this to talk to each other, right?
It's all good. If someone wants to listen in, we welcome you. But we really appreciate it. And honestly, if y'all did, learn something, we would just so love a 5-star review. I have no idea if we have any yet. I'm not very good at checking these things, but we really appreciate y'all listening. I have been a little bit sick this week, so I kind of sound like a dude, but I am here. It's been freaking my husband out a little bit when he hears my voice. He's, keeps saying, "Wow, I'm just not used to your voice." But anyway, I'm here. I've been working. And we don't have a guest today, but Chandler and I want to keep educating everyone on the market. We are knee deep in management at Sid Was Here, so we know a lot that's going on with furnished rentals and also unfurnished rentals since we deal with both. But then also as an agent, I see a lot too. So since we didn't have a guest this week, Chandler and I wanted to just have an episode again about the market. I wanted to bring up some fake news to you, Chandler. I saw this and I want your opinion as well, because you're with me and on the management side, we see this all the time. But the front page of the Savannah Morning News on June 19 was called Lights, Camera, Action. And it was this huge, honestly, it felt like a fluff piece. It was a huge story on how much money the movie industry is bringing to Georgia. And I do know this to be true. I'm not calling them liars by any means. I believe Georgia has overtaken California as the state with the highest amount of filming going on because of all the tax credits. They've really brought them in. However, my biggest issue with this article is that they don't mention that there's been a writer's strike for months and no filming has been taking place. And from my sources, it doesn't sound like filming will even begin again until October. And the reason this really affects the real estate industry is that we work at Sid Was Here, and Sid Was Here, one of our specialties are these 30+ night rentals. Like we have a ton of them. We're really great at it. We started in this space many years ago before it was popular. I was actually featured in the book 30 day stay through Bigger Pockets. I wrote 2 of the chapters for them on this concept because I've been doing it so long. And the one thing they wanted me to write about in the book, other than I wrote about something else, which escapes me for the moment, but they had me write in that book about dealing with the movie industry. And I have been doing that for years. So this has been a big part of our renter population for these longer stays are people in the movie industry. Chandler, have you had any guests recently from the movie industry? Have you seen anybody?
I used at the beginning of the year, maybe no, at the beginning of or end of last year,
Mm-hmm.
I talked to so many movie people.
Mm-hmm.
Like it seemed like almost every one of our guests was in the movie industry, and that kind of took me by surprise, to be honest with you. And then you started telling me a little bit more about it, and I haven't spoken to one this year at all. What I've
Right.
seen is I know a lot of buildings going on in the port, so I'm meeting like kind of engineers that are kind of engineering that. But I haven't spoken to a movie person this year, which is pretty upsetting.
Well, there's a reason for that, and it's
Yeah.
called the writer's strike. They're not filming right now. So that's what shocked me is that they had this huge, story on the front page of the Savannah Morning News talking about the movie industry bringing in money, and they're actually not filming right now.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. So I was very curious to read that because I kept waiting for it to talk about the writer's strike because, as a business owner, and I want more guests, right? I
Mhm.
want to see them start filming again because we need the guests. We want our houses filled. We're seeing a lot less travel nursing. COVID, they really had, they paid them a ton more. The monthly commission for their housing went from 1,500 to 2,500 a month during COVID. We make it our business here at Sid Was Here to know what the nurses get paid, and we want to have housing in that range, and we always do. And we really haven't seen that many travel nurses, and we've seen all of zero, I call them movie people, in the last few months. So I wanted to bring this up. The other thing I want to point out too, though, is that our business of renting these longer stays has not slowed down. We're still full. So I think that really says a lot about this market. Would you agree?
Yeah, no doubt. We're still moving along with that. I feel like there's always somebody coming in to stay,
Mm.
not just nurses or movie people. But I will tell you, the main people that are coming in are the construction guys, or I'd
Mhm.
say more engineering guys, kind of coming in and doing that stuff.
Yes. We're seeing a lot of the construction guys in Richmond Hill right now. I've noticed that it'll be a guess, 6 or 7 guys in a truck and they all are wearing yellow or orange. And
Yeah,
so yeah, they're bringing in crews, but it is boomtown here. If there's one thing I cannot say enough on this podcast, it is that Savannah is boomtown and money is flowing in and we are needing more and more housing. So I really truly believe in this market as an agent, as a property manager, as an investor myself. This market is fantastic.
yeah, great market. It is. It seems like the prices just do not want to go down. Um, would you say they're still going up a little bit, or are they kind of stagnant?
That's a good question. They're trying to push them up. We're seeing a lot of sellers really want top dollar, but the interest rates are a problem. So
Yeah,
as an agent, and I only work with investors. I really don't work with people looking for their dream home for the most part. But I'm seeing a lot of frustration with investors because we all want a good deal. And I understand that. But the best deals that I'm getting right now for my clients are on market deals because there's a lot of people that have put the house on too high and it's sitting. And that's when the deals come through.
okay.
And so I'm seeing a ton of analysis paralysis out of buyers right now. And I cannot say this enough. This is a solid market. These houses are not going down. We're only going to see more and more population moving to Savannah. And I'm really pushing people to really kind of move those numbers. I was speaking with a very seasoned agent yesterday. He only works with investors as well, and he's out west. And he made the statement to me, and he's right. He said the numbers don't work right now. But also, when you look at what it's going to be worth 2 years from now, you're going to regret every single purchase that you didn't buy. And it's very true. This is a very strong market. So I'm really starting to encourage buyers like just you're not going to find a home run in this market. Just be okay with a single. If you can get it to cash flow and we can push those numbers every single year, that investment is going to get better and better. And we can also cash out refi 3 to 5 years from now. You're not stuck with that interest rate for 30 years. If you get a 6.5, 7% rate, I understand it's not that great, but rent numbers are going to go up every single year. And there's a very good potential that you can get a lower APR in the near future. So between those two things, buy a single today and it's going to be a double, a triple a few years from now,
Yeah,
especially in this strong
no.
market.
I've seen a lot of, or just from listening, a lot of seasoned investors are like, "Hey, instead of like me cash flowing $500 or $1,000 every month, I'm okay with just cash flowing $300 right now because I know in the future I'll be able to get more." I think their margins is just a little bit thinner now, and
Yes.
because they know going into it, in the end they'll always win as long as you
Yes.
hold, don't sell.
Exactly. If it's a long-term strategy, you're gonna do fine. And when I bought my first single family home as a rental, I overpaid. I've said it many times, but now I look like a rock star. I've owned it for 6 years.
Yeah,
The value has doubled, the rent has gone way up, and I wasn't even really cash flowing. I think I was cash flowing maybe $17. And it's
yeah.
just that I wasn't educated. It's not that I, knew anything that anyone else didn't know or that I was a total idiot, but real estate is very forgiving over time. And this is a very strong market.
At least you jumped in and kind of learned from it.
Right.
It's the best thing is most people won't even start. I think that's probably one of the hardest things. Is just start.
You're right.
Mhm.
Well, and one of our people that comes to our meetup, I think her name is Ashley, but I'm not sure. She had let a house go and I heard her numbers and I'm like, that is a single all day. And I told her, I said, Ashley, you're gonna lose money on your first deal. I did. I mean, not really, but I wasn't making any. And then as soon as something broke, yeah, I did lose 70, $80. I said, but I'm giving you permission to go lose money. You've got to buy that first deal. So if you haven't bought in this market yet, just get it over with. Get a base hit, buy it, learn something. The next one's going to be better and better and better. And as
Yeah.
you learn this market, you're going to get even better. The other thing I wanted to say too is the absolute best way to get a good deal on that purchase price is to buy in cash. Does everyone have, a couple $100,000 in cash sitting around? No, but that's where hard money is your friend. If you can buy in all cash using hard money and then immediately cash out refi, you're only going to lose, I don't know how much, in that transaction. You have to work that into your numbers. But when I write offers that are all cash, we have a check on the form. We can say purchase is all cash. I'm showing proof of funds because we might have a pre-qual from the hard money lender, but I also give my client the right to close in with financing. So you don't actually have to close in cash as long as you have cash and you aren't doing an appraisal contingency. You can say, give me 30 days. I'm going to close in all cash. That gives the seller a lot of confidence. But then if you can get the financing worked out between the time of getting it under contract and closing, you can actually close with financing. And that's a huge advantage. So you do have that capability to kind of slide the financing in sideways if you have long enough.
Great negotiation strategy right there for sure.
Yes. But you
Yeah.
have to have the cash available. You have to say, if I can't get the financing, I'm going to close in hard money. I'm going to pay the fees. I know they're painful, but I'm just going to work that into my numbers.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, hard money is a good tool. I think just finding the right person. Uh,
Yes.
some people want to charge an arm and a leg, or I like private money. If you have a friend that you just have a good relationship with, that's always even better. Because I'd rather borrow from well, not like a good friend, but if you can sell them on the deal and say, hey, here's the deal, here's the numbers, and get them bought in, most friends will buy into that.
Yeah, Chandler, if you don't mind talking about that, I know that you have someone that has offered to loan you private money, and I like it because you don't pay any points on that. Do you want to kind of just go over those terms real quick? Because I think and everyone has someone that they know with money, including
Yeah,
yourself.
it's actually a funny story. It was just me. I've talked about real estate for a while, and as I was learning, I was kind of like just telling him, I was teaching him. I was like, hey, like this is what people do. They use hard money. Um, and I told him like this is what some people charge. This is what and he was like, really? He's like, I kind of like that. He's like, that's not too bad because he's an older guy, and he was like, I don't really want to be in it anymore. And then like 2 days later, he calls me and he's like, hey, you had mentioned something about the lending money the other day, and I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. What you think? And he was like, well, I got some cash sitting around. If like you ever run into a deal, I was like, ah, sweet. And so yeah, he we made it very simple where he was just like a point to give it to you, and then when you sell the house, another point. And I was like, sweet, because normally they do like some people do some crazy stuff.
Mhm.
What a point,
Plus like 10, 12%.
a point for however long you hold it,
Yeah.
and then another point or 2 points, 3 points, 4 points. But he made it very simple, and I was like, all right, simple is better for me.
Yes.
Um, so yeah,
Explain what
that
a
was
point is to Chandler.
it's just a percent interest rate,
Mhm.
basically. So
So to use his money, you're going to give him 1% of the purchase price to get it. And then when you pay it back, you'll pay back, let's say $20,000, I don't know, plus $2,000. So another point to pay it back.
mhm.
Okay. And I
So
love clean and simple.
very, yeah, very clean, simple, pretty cheap money. Um, but yeah, that just goes back. I was just talking to like a good lesson to learn is just talk to
Yeah.
people. And I didn't think I was getting anything from them from talking to him about it. I was kind of just thought I was teaching him. And so 2 days later, he's like, "Hey, I like that idea." So
Well, and the
hard
fact that,
money lenders online.
but you can now walk into a transaction and offer cash, right? And that gives you so much power as the buyer. And I can't say that enough.
Yeah, for sure. I wish I had him. a little bit earlier when I was trying to close
Yeah.
close at Overton, but
That's all
we live in
right. You've got them in your pocket now.
Yep,
Well, I know you brought a deal to kind of analyze real quick. Chandler, tell us what you brought today.
I sure do. So we'll pull it up here. 4 units.
I like 4 units.
I'm not giving y'all the address, so I can't steal my deal. I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. So 4 units in Brunswick, Georgia. Brunswick's what, an hour out from Savannah?
That's south. It's straight down the coast. It's halfway between Savannah and Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. I like the location a lot.
It's a
I
great
have
market.
been, I look in Brunswick, just it's a cheaper market right now. Um, but so 4 units, it's listed at 425 right
Mm,
now. Um, 8 beds, 4 baths, 3,400 square feet. Each unit is a 2-1. Okay. And this has been listed. I saw it when it was listed, for right when it was listed. And so now it has been listed for 90 days.
mm,
A lot of investors like the 90-day mark. I know we had Suzanne on a couple episodes ago, and she will start calling these type of people after 90 days. Because I believe the listing is about to expire. Is that correct? Um,
It
that's
depends on the terms, but you know they're hungry at that point. As the seller, they've had their hopes up that they were going to make money and
Mhm.
they're completely depressed. I don't usually wait that long. I don't want to mess with the wholesalers.
You feel like you might lose the deal, yeah.
Yeah, between 30 and 90 days, I'd get in there if you like it. But I
Yeah,
think at that point, they're definitely ready for a low ball offer, which is when I usually step in.
there you go. But so it's already the current rent already totals $2,975 a month. So it's already cash flowing, but they're renting 650, 700, 725, and 900 per month.
Yeah,
I
that's all.
know when I ran comps, I know they're charging Section 8 tenants 1,050 a month for 2 1s. I know that. That's a comp. So obviously you can get more than 1,050. These are nice turnkey. I wish I could show y'all.
Wow.
Nice turnkey fourplex. The guy just bought it, and it looks like he renovated it, and I guess he's just trying to flip it. But I just want to kind of pull up my numbers. I use Mortgage Calculator
Okay.
to give me a base idea. Um, for those of y'all watching, I'll kind of just show it right here on the screen.
Mhm.
This gives you a base idea. So I'll type in 425. What's the interest rate right now? 7.5.
Yeah,
Would you say I would want to get this deal with a FHA, 3.5% down?
absolutely.
Uh,
It's in good shape. You shouldn't have any trouble with that. The FHA does dictate that the house has to be in good shape and livable, but it sounds like it is, so you should be
this
fine.
house, from the pictures, it looks like the exterior is repainted, new flooring, new paint, everything. So it's a good deal. So let's go 3.5%. That's $14,875 down. So if you have 14,000, or let's say $15,000,
Mhm.
uh, you can close on a $425,000 asset.
Okay,
Uh,
let's make it even better, Chandler. This is one thing maybe not everyone knows. I would not qualify for this because I already own a home. Okay.
yeah,
But Chandler does not. And I am Chandler's agent. So I'm going to speak as your agent if you're okay with that.
go ahead.
As his agent, I know that this is his first, he would purchase it as his personal home. That's what he would do with FHA, say, hey, I'm going to move in this.
Have to.
Georgia Cares has a program, and what is the price, Chandler? Is it $7,000 they're going to give you towards your first home purchase? Is that right?
They will give up to, it was 7 or 8 grand. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that arguably you could get a quad next week for $8,000 down, and it's fully tenanted, and you could raise the rent. You can do whatever you want from there. Like the cash on cash, even at the current rent, is not going to be that bad. I don't have time to calculate that right now. But when you look on that cash on cash, like $8,000, and even if you're making 800 a month, not terrible. This is a great deal. Why don't we are we going to make an offer on this before this
Well,
episode drops? What's the plan, Chandler? I want to
I've
see
been
action.
I've been thinking about this, but so I can give you the after this is just the basic expenses. This is just
Mhm.
the uh principal interest. This I don't have property taxes in this, insurance in this. Um, remember to calculate those in this deal, but the base is $2,900 a month
Okay.
as your payment. So it's already making $2,900 a month with 650 rent, 700 a unit. Go and let's say 1,200 a unit. I mean, that's not too bad of a deal. $4,800 a month now.
So, any idea if you do a PITI payment, which is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance? Do you know what that would be? That's the big question.
Uh, yeah, so I can plug it right here in my calculator.
I also want to point out while you're looking at that, Chandler, your payment is a good bit higher because you're financing 97%, right? So that's, if someone
That's
was putting 20% down, they're going to have a lower payment than that 2,900. I just want to point that out. But Chandler's cash on cash is going to be fantastic. Go ahead. I'm so sorry. I was trying to give you time.
I'd have to run some numbers. It's funny. I wish I had my little notepad. I've already ran numbers on this probably 3 or 4 times. Um, but I want to say it cash flowed. The cash on cash return, which was the most important thing that I was looking at, was at like it was a good return. It was at
Yeah.
like 14 to 16%, somewhere around there.
Nice.
But I ran numbers on it at what I'd want to buy it at 400. I think maybe if I can get it for 395. Um, it's a pretty solid deal. That's why I wanted to bring it in. So
I like this for you. I think it's great. And especially the fact that you can FHA and the Georgia Cares, like the other thing I want to point out to you that maybe the listeners don't know, but I know that you know this, Chandler, is that in Georgia, you can do a lot with your tenant with a 60-day notice. So you can easily walk in and say, Mr. Smith, I am so happy to have you here. And you're at 650 a month right now. And I want you to stay. But if you stay, the rent is going up to, 850 or whatever. You can raise those rents fairly quickly. You do need to have the cash where you can kind of float this for a little bit because as it's not gonna, you would have to put cash
yeah,
in probably for a few months. But that's huge that Georgia is very landlord friendly.
they are. They are. And another thing to look at is um, it doesn't always have to be a long term rental. Like I know Brunswick, you can short term, no problems. There's no regulations there yet. I'm sure there will be. You can long short this thing
Mhm.
and you can long term it. I would probably, this is always your recommendation. I like is start with 1 unit, see how it does. And if that 1 unit's killing it, go to 2 units with furnishing.
Mhm.
And that's probably what I would do with this deal, just to kind of add on a little extra cash flow. But I also like long term tenants because it's just very consistent and
Right.
you know what you're getting. So
I like it. Thank you for bringing this deal, Chandler. That was fantastic.
yeah, for sure. If you want to go check it out, it's 715 Reynolds Street.
Oh, just gave the address. Good for
Feel like
you.
everybody's wanting to look at this thing now, so I
Yeah.
feel like I want to help them out. Maybe it's bought by me already before you listen.
Hopefully. Yes. I was just going to say, hopefully it's under contract with my name on there too as your
Yeah.
agent. So cool. Well, good. Thank you. I hope everyone enjoys the format. Chandler, I love that you're in the beginning of your real estate career and I'm definitely more on the other side because I'm an old lady and that is okay. Like we both bring, a different look to this market and we really believe in coastal Georgia. I can't even say that enough. So
Yeah, it's I would say for like the younger people that are trying to get started is just start. I mean, Julie knows this. I talked about it forever. Just talk, 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 and finally you pushed me to. The first deal was a wholesale deal, but it was still a deal, a good deal, made a good chunk. Um, but yes, getting started is the hardest part about the entire process.
I
And
get
but now, like if I see a deal, I jump on it. Like it's pretty easy to keep going with it.
Would you agree too, Chandler, that it's getting that first deal out of the way? That's the hardest one is the first one because you
You
sweated
learn
over that first deal.
you learn how the lawyers work, how closings work. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but like I learned so much, and now I'm just like, all right, I know how to do that. I know how to do this. Um, so, and then I run numbers a ton, so now when I see a deal, I almost like just know it's a deal. And I don't really have I run numbers still because it's all a math equation, but I'm like, "Ooh, it's a deal. Let me run my numbers," and you can kinda jump on it from there. So,
Perfect. The other thing you've done really well that I wish I could have done at your stage was you've gotten around other real estate investors and you've really put yourself out there. It's hard to show up at meetups. It's hard to go to conventions. It's hard to just admit like, yeah, I don't have any real estate, but I'm working on it. It's not easy to be, and I have watched you, Chandler, talk to people with 20 plus 80 plus units, and you're asking them questions. You're in there, you've always been very real about where you're at with your journey, and people love to talk to newer investors. And so I just think that's a big part has been your education, and that education gives you confidence as well.
yeah,
Also,
what I've noticed is those, like, seasoned investors, they always wanna teach. They love teaching and
mhm,
kind of love taking those curious younger people. Um, so that's one thing I've gotten from it is and I still keep up with them. I text them, say, "Hey, like, what you got going on?" Um, so, but yeah,
how
just
of all the big guys you've talked to, and there's been a lot, Chandler knows a lot of really big studs in this business at the now. But of all the guys you've spoken with, how many of them would have walked in the room and you would have known they were rich? Did any of them look wealthy when you first saw them?
uh, no,
Probably zero.
no, not really. We always talk about this. The wealthiest person is always the most stressed down.
Most casual guy in the room is probably the wealthiest. He's just not there to impress anybody. and
Yeah,
and that's who you need to seek out and be like, hey, what's going on? And you'll probably learn something. The guy in boots and a dirty t-shirt and jeans, that's probably the guy with 200 units. That's my
yeah.
experience.
It seems like that all the time. I do hear people talk about appearance is a big deal. Like it can go both ways, but yeah, it does seem like the richest guy in the room is always
Mhm.
a black t-shirt and some jeans.
I'll tell this story real quick. I know we need to finish up, but I spoke at a conference last week in Charlotte. It was a multifamily investing network conference. It was really fantastic. And I mean, people with thousands of units in the same room is very intimidating. And so I was on the hotel panel because I have a hotel and I manage it. And the guy that was the most stressed down, I was like, this is the guy. He's got so much money. And sure enough, I noticed he had this really beautiful bracelet on his wrist. It was like a very thick gold bracelet with diamonds. And I said, I knew you were the wealthiest one. He starts laughing. So I talked to him later and I said, man, I want that bracelet. It was just this really amazing, like very expensive bracelet. I couldn't tell you what it was worth, but he was a super nice guy. And he's from Cincinnati. The guy owns like 6 Marriotts. Like he is doing very well, but he was the most casual guy on the panel that I spoke on. And he said, well, I've got a chain to match this bracelet. And I said, no, you don't. Oh my gosh. It's probably, I don't even know, $30,000, $50,000 chain. It's gotta be. And he said, I was at the Super Bowl last year, which of course he was, he's a baller. And he said, I was feeling all good in my chain and I have my chain on my wrist and all that. And he said, and then in walks Money Mayweather. And he said Mayweather had 3 or 4 million, wrapped around his neck.
Man,
And he all of a sudden, this guy who I think is like loaded, feels like a pauper, next to Money Mayweather. It was a great story, but I just thought, there's always someone else that's going to have more than you. And you just, they're all probably really good people. And he enjoyed meeting him and feeling like a loser next to Money Mayweather. And then I felt like a loser next to him. So, it's always good. Just keep putting yourself out there. Like you're always going
yeah,
to be around someone with
I'm
something
sure he
else.
could learn something from Money Mayweather.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Chandler. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to our episode 4. This is our teeny little baby podcast, and we're really trying to bring the value. We really hope that you'll share this on social media. We hope you'll like it. We hope you'll give us a 5-star review. Chandler and I, we need to get our mothers, at least someone, to give us a 5-star review. So hopefully someone will. I haven't worked on that. I'm so sorry. Chandler and I work very hard in our full-time jobs. So we've been kind of, pulling these together on the side. But we really appreciate you guys tuning in. We hope you'll keep checking us out every week. And we love talking about Savannah real estate and cash flowing in Savannah. So
If
thank you
there's
so
any
much.
ideas that y'all have, go ahead. Thank you. No, bye. No.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I
I was gonna
interrupted.
say if y'all have any ideas of what we want to talk about, please let us know.
Absolutely. Yes. Any subject matter that you want us to talk about, and we will have multiple guests. That's absolutely true. So
All righty. Y'all
thank
have
you
a
so much, everyone. We'll see you next week.
bye.